over to the other feed. We are now live. Say hi.
Hi, everybody. We're so sorry. Tom, I'm going to give you my phone so you can finish telling everybody. We could not get the feed to work for the live that Tom had set up on YouTube. For some reason, everything we did was going wrong. So we're just ditching that YouTube live and starting over here. So we're gonna, hope that everyone can catch up with us and find us here. We are so sorry. We have never had this happen before.
Hello, everybody.
So there's Tom.
I'm going to be doing a little bit of computer work here for just a moment to reconstruct what went wrong.
You're sweating, honey.
I know. I am sweating.
He's sweating.
We had a technical issue.
It was stressful there for a minute. We could see the feed where you guys all were, and everyone was chatting and having
But
a
it wouldn't
good
let us
time.
on.
But it would not let us go on, so go figure. But it looked like you guys were having a great time without us. So I'm Tami. This is my husband, Tom.
Hello.
If you're joining us for the first time, we don't usually have these big technical issues. It usually starts without a hitch. But we are the creators of the blog and this YouTube channel called Nutmeg Notebook. And we are whole food, plant-based, and we just love sharing about this lifestyle. So we talk a lot about plant-based lifestyle, weight loss, and lots of fun things in between. So today's show is going to be a Q&A, and lots of people have submitted questions over the last 2 weeks. And so I'm going to attempt to answer everyone's questions today. You can see I have lots of props here, and that's because a lot of this stuff has to do with the questions that I have been asked. And so you can ask questions here in the chat. We just ask that you put 4 question marks and then do your question and end with 4 question marks. That just helps your questions stand out for us. And if you could hold off on asking those questions that you have until I get done answering all of the ones that we already have. Otherwise, the feed moves so fast and we lose your questions. And so when I'm done with this, then we'll say, okay, anybody have questions? And then you can put your questions in there. So, Tom, do we have people finding us? Have people found us?
Yes, Nadiesh is here. Linda Fletcher's here. Moderators, have you caught up with us yet? Tiffany's here. Randy's here. Jesse's here.
Jesse's here. Okay.
Everybody's here but me. I'm not here.
So Tiffany, Randy, Jesse are our moderators. They volunteer for us and help us on our YouTube lives, and we really honestly could not do this without them. And so thank you everyone for your patience. Thank you for hanging in there and waiting for us to get here. How you doing? Are you calming down yet?
Yeah. I need some CBD oil.
You need some CBD oil.
Okay, so while Tammy's talking about some questions that we already had in advance, I'm going to be sitting here seemingly ignoring you for the moment because I'm going to transfer all of the information and the links I had put in there that pertain to what Tammy's going to be dealing with and answering a couple of questions. So I'm going to head to the screen here a little bit, and I'll get all of that information and everything moved over to this new feed. You will not see any of that until you go back in and click the refresh thing, get the thingy, the spinny thingy, and have that update that feed. So don't do it now. I'm not ready. I'll let you know when I'm ready. How about that?
Okay. So, and what about if there's anybody, do you want to go in and leave a note?
Jesse's going to go back and check.
Oh, thank you, Jesse.
And keep an eye on that. So,
thank you, because I think some people will be lost over there.
Yeah.
So
I'm actually going to slide around and...
okay.
Well, now I'll stay here. I'll kind of keep an eye on the questions here.
Okay, that's fine. It's okay if you're ignoring us. It's okay. So
mics
anyway,
are working. Your mic's working.
Okay, everybody can hear us. We're just, it's a little oriented. No, I can't say it.
It's disorienting.
Just to have all the technical stuff happen just as you're ready to go live.
Well, the backstory is I've been experimenting with some new equipment, some new technologies, our video controller, and setting up live streams in advance so that we can do Zoom interviews. And that involves doing a new kind of streaming that we hadn't done before. So I thought I had the stream set up for our traditional setup, but evidently it was set up for our future setup. And
Okay,
so
well,
I
let's move on.
didn't have the right piece of equipment here.
Thank you, honey. It's all working out. Everybody's patient. You're all here. Okay, so we're going to get started with the Q&A. So I have a question from Jeannie, and she said that she's interested in purchasing an Instant Pot, but she's unsure as to what size to purchase. She'd like to use it daily for oat groats and occasionally for rice. And so she was thinking that the 3-quart would be perfect because it's small and it's easy to store, which is true. But on the other hand, she sees that Chef AJ has some soups in her cookbook, and she's wondering if the 3-quart would be sufficient to make them. No, it will not. You would need to cut the recipes in half. Most, well, I'm not going to even say most. I'm going to say all of the soup, stew, and chili recipes for pressure cookers that I've seen call for at least the 6-quart, and some are made especially for the 8-quart. And so you would have to cut the recipes in half in order to be able to make them in the 3-quart, and some of them you'd probably have to cut in thirds. So do you need to buy both? No, just get you the 6. You can cook a smaller quantity in the bigger pressure cooker. You just can't cook a bigger quantity in the smaller pressure cooker. So I would suggest getting the 6-quart because you can still cook oatmeal and oat groats and rice and everything in it, but then you would also still be able to make a lot of the recipes. So I have some recipes that call for an 8-quart, and I know that AJ does too. And so those recipes you would need to cut in half to fit them in your 6-quart, which, you know, or you could, you know, I would just cut them in half. That would be the easiest. So I would get a 6-quart. It's better to have the bigger one. I don't think you'll regret it. I do have the 6, the 3, the 6, and the 8. And, you know, the 3 is nice for small quantities. But if I didn't have it, like before I got it, I just made small quantities in my 6-quart. And that worked perfectly great. So get the 6-quart. I don't think that you'll regret it. And it does take up a little bit more room, but really not all that much room. And I think that you'll use it all the time. And so you'll be really glad that you have it. And then, you know, if anybody has any comments about that, what you would advise, or you can put that in the comments as well. So Nita says, I am wondering if you ever include pasta in your diet. I have not heard you mention spaghetti, noodles, macaroni, etc. Are pastas made from wheat or chickpeas or other grains part of a whole food diet? I'm new to all whole food plant-based and haven't heard any discussion about pasta. Why are you looking at me?
There's not a lot of pasta in our diet. I wish there was more pasta in our diet.
Well, you know that you can have it anytime you want to have it. So here we're going to talk about a little bit about that. And it's a personal choice. So pasta is absolutely more processed than eating a whole grain. And so it's up to you, and it depends on, you know, what your health issues are, what your weight issues are. If you're trying to lose weight, I would say absolutely not. And the reason is all of the water has been taken out of, even if they make it with, if it's made with lentils or chickpeas or what have you. You know, it's a dry product. It's been processed, and it is more calorically dense. And what do I mean by that? Okay, so there is the calorie density chart, which is just a measurement of a certain amount of food, which most of the times they do 1 pound, and how many calories that food is per pound. And I'll give you an example. So this red lentil pasta, this is just made from organic red lentil flour. So they've taken lentils and they have processed them and turned them into a flour, and then they have added water and turned them into pasta shapes. And so you would think, well, you know, that's really healthy, right? Because it's just the lentils. Well, lentils are 600 calories a pound for lentils. And then you cook them in water and they swell up and get bigger. And we don't usually eat the lentils by themselves. We usually put a lot of vegetables and other fun things with them. And that makes for a very hearty, filling, whole food, plant-based entree. Well, the pasta, because it has been so highly processed and it's dry, guess what? Red lentil pasta is 1,520 calories per pound versus just the red lentils, which are only 600 calories per pound. And the problem with it is this is not as filling, at least we've discovered. So once in a great while, we will have some pasta. Like I have this because we feed this to the grandkids because this is more nutritious for them than like whole wheat pasta. And so, you know, our daughter tries to get lentils and chickpeas and different things in them. And so if she's going to feed them a pasta, then she would prefer that it would be something that is made from chickpeas or lentils so that they're getting the nutrition from that. But what Tom and I have found out for ourselves is that this just is not as satisfying or as filling because it's so processed. But it's a personal choice. If you're trying to lose weight, I definitely would not do any of the pastas. This one is made from rice. Now, brown rice is a great thing to eat on a whole food plant-based diet, and it's 500 calories per pound for brown rice. But once you process it and turn it into a pasta, and the only ingredients in this is brown rice and water, well, you go from 500 calories a pound for the calorie density of brown rice to 1,760 calories per pound for the brown rice pasta. And we just don't find it as satisfying and filling. So here's the deal. If it's not a trigger food for you, then have it occasionally. If you're not trying to lose weight, you could have it occasionally. And if you don't have any health issues, you could probably have it occasionally. So, you know, I don't know what your circumstances are, what your health goals are, what your weight is. And so, you know, you have to decide for yourself. So some of the, like the Engine 2, Plant Pure Nation, they use pasta in a lot of their dishes, and you know, it's a personal choice. So we just don't eat a lot of pasta because we just don't find it as satisfying. So I do make a lasagna with a gluten-free pasta a few times a year, and I will have a serving of that, but I will include, you know, a great big salad and lots of vegetables and so forth with it to make it more filling because it's just not that satisfying to me. And I have a video all about calorie density that you can watch where I go into a lot more detail explaining about calorie density and how I learned from Chef AJ how to use that to be able to lose weight and keep it off. Okay, so that's it about calorie density in pasta. You doing okay?
Okay.
Have you calmed down?
The old feed is gone.
Okay.
Thank you for that suggestion, Jesse. And everything from the old description and all the links and stuff have been moved over to the new feed.
Okay,
so
good job.
we're restored. So, but with all of that chaos, we may have lost some folks. And so if you would hit the thumbs up now, that will alert YouTube to kind of reach out to people that are whole food plant-based curious and maybe liven this thing up a little bit again after my detouring it around a bit.
Okay,
so,
good
anyway,
idea.
So yeah,
yes,
we're
if
100.
you give us a thumbs up.
Okay, so we're 100% now, and there's a few. We probably should check comments and questions here a little bit.
Okay, yeah.
So
a lot of people who are trying to use the link off of Facebook or Instagram
are getting a dead end.
Going to the old.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's unfortunate, but stuff happens. So, but we're glad that you guys are all here. Okay, so now I have a question from Jeanette, and She says that she's been whole food plant-based for nearly 3 years, and she's making her diet cleaner and cleaner. And she bought a new pan because she's getting rid of oil in her cooking. Great, that's wonderful. And she bought a brand new nonstick pan, but in the instructions it said to never use the high setting on the stove, but to stay at medium. And so she wants to know, how can she get onions and mushrooms to sizzle or whatever she's cooking without using the high setting. And so, well, and that's true for the non-stick pans, and we use the Scan pan, S-C-A-N, Scan pan, and it is a ceramic pan, and they also say not to go above a medium heat. And so just add a little bit of water to it if you're afraid of things sticking, and you will be amazed. Your food will cook at that medium setting, and it just takes a little bit longer, but it works beautifully. And so just give it a try and trust the process, and I think that you'll discover that it actually is very easy and it works, and your onions will still cook, your mushrooms will still cook, and you can water saute. You can either use a little bit of water or you can use a little bit of low sodium vegetable broth, and it works great. So, so thank you for writing from Montreal, and your English was great. She said it's not her first language, French is, but I thought you did beautiful, Jeanette. So thank you so much. Jocelyn says she would love to make some of the beautiful salads that she sees on the Saturday, the Super Salad Saturday post. What I'm talking about is on the Nutmeg Notebook Facebook page. On Saturdays, I post, I get a post started for everyone to post their favorite salad from that week. They can post a picture of it and give a description, and we're just helping everyone discover different combinations and flavors and different ways to make big, beautiful salads, and it's really fun. And so she wants to know how to keep the salad ingredients fresh for a few days. So I have a video all about that. Tami's top tips for the best salads or something like that. So, and here's a hint, you guys, when you're curious as to whether I have a blog post or a video about something, use Google search. So on Google search, you can put in salads, Nutmeg Notebook, and Google will find everything that I've done about salads. It'll show you videos, it'll show you the blog posts. If you want to know about potatoes, and I get asked about potatoes every week, I did a video all about potatoes, one on how to bake them and one on how to air fry them. And so you can just Google potatoes, how to bake, Nutmeg Notebook, and Google will find for you the video about that. Or you can put potatoes air fried, Nutmeg Notebook, and again, Google will find it for you. So use that search, because I just don't have time to look everything up and give people links. And so I need you guys to learn how to use the Google search for me. Okay, so Donna said that she's interested in cooking red lentils and oat groats in the Instant Pot, and do I have a recipe? And so I do. Google oat groats.
Nutmeg
Notebook. And you will find a blog post and a video all about how to cook oat groats. I do not have a video on just how to cook red lentils. Red lentils cook really quick. I would have to look in a book, and I can't get to it right now, but you can just Google how long to cook red lentils in a pressure cooker, and you'll probably get videos, blog posts, charts, and if your pressure cooker came with a chart, like mine came with my Mealthy came with a cooking chart that tells me how long it takes to cook different things. So red lentils, I probably wouldn't cook those just plain. I use them a lot in soups and stews and chilies and that kind of thing. In fact, I made a delicious soup yesterday that had red lentils in it. But our oldest granddaughter, when she was younger, she loved just red lentils cooked, and she would eat a whole bowl full of those.
Can we rewind back to the pasta discussion? Mary had a question about the calories per pound for brown rice pasta.
Yes. So what you do is you take the calories. This is for 2 ounces on here. It says 8 servings, and this is a pound. And you just take the calories per serving times how many servings are in the bag, and that tells you how many calories this is per pound.
So isn't that 1,700 calories per pound for brown rice pasta?
So for this particular one, it is, it came up to 1,760
really close.
calories.
Sure, okay, it's right there.
Yes, so it would just depend on the brand, and there's going to be a slight variation from brand to brand. But I just took, this is 220 calories per servings. There's 8 servings. This is a 1 pound bag, and that's how I calculated it.
Did you answer Peggy Evans' questions about how do we find calorie density?
So you would Google calorie density, Nutmeg Notebook, and I have a video, a very thorough video all about that.
Yeah, from about 6 weeks ago.
Yeah, probably from a couple months ago, and it's on our YouTube channel. And if you want to know more about calorie density and how to use it for weight loss, I highly recommend Chef AJ's book, The Secrets to Ultimate Weight Loss. Her program is the program that I used to end 4 decades of yo-yo dieting, and I have been maintaining my weight loss for 5 years now. So I highly recommend this book, and this book is completely based on calorie density. And if you just Google Chef AJ's calorie density chart and click on images, then you'll get the image she has on the back of the book. She has her the calorie density chart, and you can Google it, and it will come up on Google.
Tiffany super chatted you.
Oh, thank you, Tiffany. That was sweet of you. Thank you so much.
And Tammy's got fresh flowers. Thank you
so
much,
Tiffany. Yes, Tiffany, I do have fresh flowers over here for you. So those came from Costco this week, and they had them on sale they were $2 off. So I think I got them for $7.99 instead of $9.99, and I thought they were really pretty and very fall-like. Okay, so let's see. Margaret says, you mentioned that you grind your black cumin seeds. Is there a reason? Yes, because in Dr. Greger's book, How Not to Diet, he talks about the benefits of black cumin seed. And I'm going to show you. This is the grinder that I use, and this is on our Amazon store. And Tom, did you do a link to our Amazon store?
I'm going to look. In all this chaos, I don't know.
I don't know. He's going to look. Okay, so black cumin seeds are also called Nigella sativa, but these are called black cumin seeds, and they actually taste more like black pepper than cumin. And the reason that Dr. Greger talks about them in the How Not to Diet book, which he talks about them on page 312. So if you have this book, you can look on page 312. And he says that the dosage in the studies that were done on this, the dosage was a 1/4 teaspoon of black cumin powder. Notice, black cumin powder, not black cumin seeds. And so that's why I use a spice grinder and I grind them. And this one happens to be battery operated, so when you tilt it, when you turn it over, it activates it and it grinds them for you. And he says what was shown in the studies that were done is that a 1/4 teaspoon of the black cumin seeds, a 1/4 teaspoon ground a day, reduced and improved cholesterol, triglycerides, blood pressure, blood sugar, And the side effects of, in the trial that they did, the side effects of a 1/4 teaspoon of it ground a day was loss of appetite and weight loss. And a daily dose of this only cost about 3 cents. And he said, why don't we hear more about this? It's because the pharmaceutical companies would not want us to know about it because they can't make any money off of it. And so I just use this as a seasoning on my vegetables, in my soup, on my salads. I love the flavor of it. A couple of people have written to me and told me that they don't like it, or they liked the flavor of it, but it didn't agree with them. It kind of gave them an upset stomach. And I have had no issues with it whatsoever. And I love the flavor of it. And I have just naturally high triglycerides and LDL cholesterol. And so I was very interested in using it to check that. But I have not, since I started having this, which I guess I've probably been using it for a couple of months now, I have not, I haven't had blood work done to find out if it has made a difference or not. So, and I believe he says in here that, you know, you need to use it for a couple of months and then you'll probably get results. And if you stop using it, it does not cure you. If you stop using it, then your numbers will go back up. And so it's something that you would need to continue using. And it's a 1/4 teaspoon a day. And we have these and this grinder on our Amazon page. And Tom did a lot of research to try to find the black cumin seeds that had good reviews, because so many of them, you'll want to read the reviews if you don't buy this brand.
They come from a variety of locations, and not all the locations have good food standards. And the Terrasol brand we've had,
we buy a lot of
with
their
other
stuff.
items, and it's all, it's been consistently good. So
And I also love Dr. Greger's book. This is an excellent book. Lots of hints and tips in here. If you're struggling with your weight, if you have difficulty keeping your weight off, he has a lot of wonderful tips in here. And these are not things that are his opinion. These are things that are based by scientific studies. Yes.
new question from Gary. Do we take any supplements other than B12?
I take vitamin D because in my last physical, my vitamin D was extremely low. And so I did have to go on a prescription for vitamin D. I was like less than 8 and under 25, or 25 and lower is considered extremely low. And so now I'm taking an over-the-counter as well. And that is something that we highly recommend that you discuss with your doctor. And so unless you have been tested and know that you are deficient in something, it's probably, better not to be taking supplements. But that's something that you should talk to your doctor about, because we can't give medical advice. We're just sharing what we do. And I always recommend that you have a discussion with your physician. And so we do ask we get a physical yearly, and when we're going to have our blood work done, we ask ahead of time for our physician to put in a request that we get tested for B12 and vitamin D. And Tom is on Medicare, and so the doctor told him that there is, if you eat a vegan diet, they have a special code that they can put in if you're on Medicare to have
Check for
Medicare.
B12.
Yes, so that Medicare will pay for the test for B12. And
That was as of 2019. So.
yeah, as of last year. So we'll see. No, that was 2020. You had your physical this year in 2020.
Okay.
I know, it seems like that was last year because it's been a long year.
Yes.
So anyway, so you will see this. I say this about my salads and my vegetables and my soup, and you'll see it sprinkled on top if you follow me on Instagram and Facebook, where I post a lot of what I eat. I do a lot of what I eat in a day, and that's what it is. And that is on our Amazon page. So Sherry says, what do you wash your produce with? I just use water. Now, if something's really, really dirty, I did buy a vegetable wash from Trader Joe's in the produce department, but honestly, mostly I just use water. So a couple weeks ago, Chef AJ interviewed Dr. Greger and Jen Hawk, and you were able to submit questions in advance. So I submitted the question to ask, is there anything special that we should do because of COVID-19 in washing our fresh produce? And he said, no, absolutely not. Just wash it the way you normally wash it. He isn't doing anything special. And you know, he was an infectious disease expert before he started his nutritionfacts.org website. And so, I mean, he's the man in the know. And so he said, just wash it how you normally do. You don't need to, you're moving the camera on me.
Well, because I'm half off the screen.
Oh, you are? Okay.
Yeah.
And so, so that's what he says.
Either move the camera or move you.
And then I did see, I can't remember where it was right now. I did see an interview where they interviewed, I think it was 6 epidemiologists about different things that they're doing during COVID-19. And one of the questions was, you know, are you doing anything differently with your groceries once you get them home? And they all said no. So anyway, so he was like, you know, you don't need to wipe everything down with bleach or anything like that. So we just wash, most of our produce is just washed with water. And today I was washing romaine again. That was so filthy. I had to triple wash it. So I, took all the leaves apart. First I ran them under the faucet with a nice gentle flow of cold water. And then I filled a great big bowl with water and put them in there and swished them around, dumped that out, and then rinsed them again. It took forever to make my salads today because the romaine was so filthy. So I think I'm gonna stop buying romaine. It's terrible. Okay, so Joanna wants to know what brand of nutritional yeast do you buy? And this is the one that I buy from Amazon. This is the Sari brand. And nutritional yeast does vary from brand to brand in how it tastes. And we just happen to really like the flavor of this one. And so this is also on our Amazon. Our Amazon store. They do sell a smaller bag, but we use this every week for our Chipotle nacho cheese sauce. And so it's cheaper to buy the bigger bag of it. You save a little bit. And so we buy this big bag, and it lasts us a fairly long time. So sorry, brands. And if you go to our Amazon store, which Tom has linked to down below, you can see it on there. In fact, like all the kitchen gadgets that we use and the food products that we buy from Amazon are all listed on there. The pans we use, the pressure cookers we use, the utensils we use, even some things that we have for the grandkids.
Not completely, but for the most part, you'll find like food items, pantry items clumped together and kitchen utensils clumped together. I do have some breakout categories for appliances and utensils, but the one that says influencer is the catch-all with books and pantry items. So you'll find it all there.
Marie and Kaya both wrote to me this past week and said that both of them are new to plant-based and they're finding it overwhelming. All the information about nutrition and how to eat and so forth. And they both asked for suggestions on where and how to get started and how to just stay focused on a plant-based lifestyle. So I would say that, since I don't know what your health goals are, so I don't know if you have health issues that you're trying to correct, or if you're trying to lose weight, or what specifically your goals are. So I'm just going to show some books that you can use. So you've already made the decision that you should do plant-based. So now I think you really just educate yourself a little bit more. And so, if you want to lose weight, then of course I recommend these two books. They will give you some guidance. And Chef AJ's book has over 100 recipes in it, and it's a really good plan. Also, if you're interested in losing weight, you could join her Feel Fabulous Over 40 group. It's an online program. I think it's like $149 for the year, and there's all kinds of videos on there. There's a private Facebook group that you get to belong to, and weekly menus, tons of recipes, an information vault where you can look things up, and it's a fabulous program, and you can try it for free for 2 weeks. So for 2 weeks, you can go on, you can have access to all of the information that is there, and then after 2 weeks, you can decide if you want to continue the program or go on your own. So I recommend those two books. If you are really having you don't need to lose weight, but you just don't know how to get started, this is a simple little book that is from Dr. Greger, and not Dr. Greger, sorry, Dr. Barnard, the Vegan Starter Kit. And it's a very simple layout of how to get started. Also, I have a video. It's called How to Get Started on a Plant-Based Diet. And so you can Google that, and it's on YouTube. So, what Dr. Barnard talks about in here is just make a list. What do you currently eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner? What can you substitute for that for whole food plant-based? So you can, certainly oatmeal is delicious and whole food plant-based, and you can have oatmeal for breakfast, and instead of dairy milk you can have a plant milk with it. If you like Mexican food, for lunch you can have a baked potato stuffed with beans, corn, and salsa, and that makes it very simple and easy. You can make a plant-based chili and have that for dinner, or a plant-based minestrone, or a broccoli soup, or a lentil soup. I mean, I have hundreds of recipes on my blog. You can go to the blog and put in soup and then choose a soup to make. And so, just start very simple and easy, and start trying different recipes and see what you like. And most people only have about 10 to 12 recipes that they rotate on a regular basis. And so, it only takes a few weeks to try some recipes and discover what you like, and pretty soon you have a nice little collection of things that you enjoy eating. And so you just can make plant-based versions of the standard American diet items that you currently like. If you like burgers and fries, guess what? You can make a veggie burger and some oil-free fries, and it's delicious. And so, you can make pizza. You can make virtually everything similar to what you used to eat, just without the animal products. Yes, Tom?
A couple new questions when you're ready that came in recently.
Okay.
From Melissa, can you please compare the California balsamic Italian flavor with the Well Your World Italian dressing flavor? Well, one is an actual Italian dressing from Well Your World, but the new Italian vinegar is definitely a vinegar with Italian seasonings. So they have the same.
I would have to taste them side by side to be able to say what the difference is.
Okay, well, what I'm saying about to compare them, Dillon's is the texture, made to be the texture of a dressing, to have the mouthfeel of a dressing, to dress the salad, kind of a traditional dressing, where the vinegars, you're just doing a little bit of them on to get the flavor through the salad, but you're not trying to dress all of the surfaces of the salad in a layer of vinegar per se. It's in your salad, but it's not on every tiny little morsel. So the vinegar is behaving more like a vinegar with the Italian spices, where the dressing is more of of the texture mouthfeel of a salad
So, yeah,
dressing.
because it's
That's what
thicker.
I
It's
made-
thicker. The dressing
Yeah,
is
it's
thicker.
Yeah, the consistency, the gooiness, the ooey, wonderful gooey, it's just the right. It's one of my favorite ones. So
Okay. I didn't know you were gonna-
I don't compare the two. Really, they're kind of two different genres of product. They're going the same food, but it's two different experiences.
Okay.
So
I didn't know you were going to ask me a question completely different because I wasn't done with this
Oh,
topic.
I'm so sorry. Yeah,
That's okay.
Okay, I thought you were on the end of that
No.
thought process.
So, also,
I have more when you're ready.
if you're just you don't have any health issues, but you just want to adopt a whole food plant-based diet, to prevent having any issues. So the Starch Solution is an excellent book. His Dr. McDougall's program for maximum weight loss is a little more strict. It takes out some of the more processed foods. So these are two good programs. Also, I want to say you don't have to buy the books. Check with your local library because your local library might have them. And a lot of the books are as ebooks right now. I know our local libraries are not open for people to go in, but you can still check out books. They have easy drive up and pick up the books at the curb for you. And also they might have the versions on ebooks. And so then you don't even have to leave your house. And so you can check and see if your local library has any of these books. And if they don't, you can put in a request and see if they can order them for you. Now, if you have diabetes and you're trying to reverse diabetes and you're adopting a whole food diet, a whole food plant-based diet for that, this is Dr. Barnard's, one of his books. He has 2 books about diabetes. And again, if you don't want to purchase it, check and see if your local library has it. If you have heart disease and you're trying to reverse that, the Esselstyns have the How to Prevent and Reverse Heart Disease. There's a companion book that goes with this that explains why you want to change your diet. And then this is the cookbook. And again, you can either buy these on Amazon or your local bookstore or Barnes and Noble, or check and see if your library has them. And these would help give you a little bit of guidance. Then there's the Forks Over Knives website. They have a menu planner that you can purchase if you want to do that. But that would give you ideas on what to eat. If you follow me on Instagram or my Facebook page, I usually post on like Monday what I batch cooked over the weekend, and then throughout the week I show you every day. I post what I ate. I do 5 days, usually just Monday through Friday, because I need a break on the weekend from having to take pictures of all of my food and post links to all the recipes. But like Monday through Friday, I post, here's what I ate for, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, or had a snack, or what have you. And if there's a link to a recipe, I give you that, or a link to the YouTube video for it, I give you that. And that way you can see what I'm doing, and then you might need to eat more food than me, you might need to eat less food than me, you might not like what I eat, but it'll give you some ideas of someone who follows a whole food plant-based diet. So next I wanted to talk about, and I'm not going to say who sent this to me, but today I got a private message from someone who said, I would like to challenge you to a $10 a day limit for a menu for a week, only spending $10 a day on food, not using any fancy foods like the fancy balsamic vinegars. I would love to see examples of budget meals given the economic challenges of the pandemic and the effect that it has had on her budget. And so, although I think that is a really great idea, I just don't have time to track the cost of all the ingredients that would go into all the things that I make and the meals that I eat, and figure out a menu plan, because I don't do menu plans, and I don't have the time to do that. That would take a tremendous amount of time. But I do have some resources for you because there's people that are already doing that. So Toni Okamoto, I'm probably butchering her name, but she has a book called Plant-Based on a Budget, as well as a website called Plant-Based on a Budget, and she actually lives local to the Sacramento area, and we've heard her speak at the local Veg Fest. And then she also on her website, and Tom's put a link in the show notes below for Plant-Based on a Budget, and for $5 she has a meal plan.
Well, it says $4 here.
No, that's a different one.
Oh, okay, no, that's eat vegan on $4 a day. I'm sorry.
Don't mess with me.
Okay.
She charges $5 for a 1-week meal plan where every meal is $1.20 per meal, and that's for one person. And so you're spending around $3 a day, and it's a whole week's menu. And that's only $5 to buy that. And if you want 2 weeks, she has a plan for $10, and I think there's a 3-week for $15 and a 4-week for $20. And so, and she has a book, Plant-Based on a Budget. Again, check and see if your local library has it or can they get it for you. And I think that, I don't know if she had a Kindle version of her cookbook or not. Then also, Jaffe Jones has a book called Eat Vegan on $4 a day, and the Kindle book for that is $7.99. The paperback is $14.95, and check and see if your library has it where you could check it out for free.
I did a single link, but it will show all the options on Amazon, whether you go with the electronic version or the paper version, right?
Yes.
Because I just grabbed one link.
Yeah, it's on the same link. It should tell you either one.
All right, yeah, those are.
And so, so those two ladies have already done all of that work for you, and so I think that would be a really good resource. And then my other suggestions are, for one, you can buy things in bulk, buy larger quantities, and you'll save money. So whether you have like a Sam's Club or a Costco or what is the name of a warehouse? I can't think of it right now, back east. I know you have, I can't think of the name of it. And your sister shops at one in Florida too.
Not Pickles.
No.
Is it something with a P?
I don't think so.
All right. Okay.
Well, anyway, depending on where you live, if you have a warehouse style store that you can go to, you know, like we buy rice in a 12 or 15 pound bag, and it's so much cheaper than buying it at the regular grocery store. You can buy dried beans in a larger quantity, or you can buy them in the cans. But it is much cheaper if you buy things in bulk. And so the bulk bins at all of our stores that have bulk bins, those are closed because of the pandemic. But what they have done is they have put everything in 1 pound containers. And so you're still getting the bulk price, but it's just already been put in containers for you. So they either have it bagged up or they have it in the plastic boxes. And so you're not paying for advertising and all the packaging. So it's a much cheaper way to purchase things. And so you can buy your beans and your grains and your lentils that way. You can buy quinoa that way. You can buy oats that way. In fact, we buy our oats in, is it a 25 pound bag?
Winco, yeah.
We at Winco Foods. We buy the 25 pound bag because it's just so much cheaper to do that. And so you can't get much cheaper than potatoes, beans, rice, and quinoa. And then for your vegetables, if you buy things that are in season, they are much cheaper than if they're out of season. And sometimes the frozen vegetables are a better price than the fresh. And there's nothing wrong with buying frozen or frozen fruit. There's nothing wrong with buying frozen fruit. Some people are also getting the I forget what it's called right now, but it's the produce that isn't the first quality. They might have some blemishes or not be as pretty, and you can have those delivered to you. Do you know what that's called? maybe somebody can put it in the chat. You can go, if your farmer's market might be cheaper than the store, that does not happen to be true where we live. If we want to buy organic, it's cheaper for us to go to Costco and Trader Joe's to buy organic than it is to buy from the small local farmers. But check and see if you can get things at your farmer's market cheaper. And it also depends on where you live. Like if we drove into Sacramento and went to the farmer's market, there's a great big farmer's market there, the prices are cheaper than they are out in the burbs, which is really interesting. The exact same vendors, like there's this one vendor that has the best strawberries ever, and they're like $3 more if I buy them in Roseville versus I go over to the next town and buy them the next day, they're cheaper. So check that out. But sweet potatoes, oats, rice, quinoa, millet, lentils, beans. Buy your vegetables and your fruits that are in season. And then we do have like discount stores here. And so look and see, like if you have grocery outlets, like we have grocery outlets here. And so the produce that they have is a little bit closer to expiration date, but you can get it so much cheaper than it is at a regular grocery store. And so those are just some ideas on how you can do it. So this vinegar is a really delicious vinegar. It is not as expensive as the specialty vinegars. It's still not as cheap as as economical. Cheap's not a good word, is it? It's not as economical as buying the vinegar from Costco, this Kirkland vinegar, but I get this great big bottle and I think it's around $10 or $11 for this huge bottle of vinegar. And you can make your own salad dressing. So the creamy balsamic vinegar dressing that is on my blog and on my YouTube channel. Again, Google creamy balsamic dressing, Nutmeg Notebook, and Google will find the link for you. And I just used this vinegar in that, and it uses a can of beans and a little bit of almond milk. And it's absolutely delicious. It makes about 24 ounces. And it will last about 5 or 6 days. And it's super delicious and economical to make, and you don't have to have the expensive vinegars. If you want to have a little bit of a specialty vinegar, this is the Napa Valley Naturals Grand Reserve. Sometimes it goes on sale for $6.99 for this bottle at Sprouts. And when it does, we buy several of them because that's a really good price. And this is a very nice sweet vinegar. It's thick and sweet and syrupy, and it only has 4% acidity. The regular vinegars, I don't know if this one says on it, but the regular vinegars are usually 6%. And so this one is a sweeter vinegar, but it's very nice to drizzle over like a oven roasted sweet potato if you want to have that as a little bit of a dessert. But it's very economical and not as expensive as some of the other vinegars that are flavored. And so, the creamy balsamic dressing that I have, you can make it into strawberry by adding strawberries to it. You can make it with a white vinegar and add pineapple or mango and ginger and make it a more Asian flavor. So you can take that same basic recipe and just add different things to it and give it a different flavor. And you don't have to have the specialty vinegars in order to enjoy those fun flavors. And if you like the fruit, Straight Up Foods, Kathy Fisher's website, she has some lovely recipes on there for salad dressings where you use fruit. Like you can do a pineapple mango and then throw in some cilantro, or you could throw in mint, or you could do basil with it. And so you don't have to have the specialty vinegars to make really delicious salad dressings. She has a tomato-based one that's amazing where you use fresh tomatoes and herbs in it. And so there's lots of ways that you can just cut calories. Most of what I make is not expensive. I mean, I take, zucchini, which zucchini is really inexpensive, and yellow onion and some garlic. And I saute the onion and the garlic and some mushrooms, and then I throw in whatever vegetables I happen to have, and whatever's in the refrigerator that needs to be used up, and spinach and some kale and some zucchini and carrots if I have them, and I throw that all in and saute that lightly, and then I can just add some starch to it. I'll add potatoes or rice or oat groats or quinoa to it, and then my chipotle nacho cheese sauce is very inexpensive to make because it's made with potatoes and carrots and some seasonings and some water, and so that's very inexpensive, but it's very flavorful. And so that is a very inexpensive meal. How much does it cost? I don't know, because I've never taken the time to break apart all the ingredients that are in it to come up with how much it costs. But you certainly can eat this way very economically. And if anybody has any suggestions for other websites or cookbooks that are very budget friendly, put the link or the name of it in the comment section and share that. And that would be great. Are you doing okay, honey?
Yeah, I just had to stand up for a second.
Okay, Tom's back is hurting him, so he's having to stand up and take pressure off of his back every
Okay, are you
once in a
caught
while.
up on?
I am all caught up
Okay.
on my stuff.
All right, a question on, quick question, I think. When we remove frozen rice from the freezer, do we defrost or microwave it? I drop it, I'm usually the one to bring it in, and as soon as I pull it out of the freezer, it starts crackling and popping and doing some kind of expanding thing. I pop it in the microwave just for 1 minute to take that hard freeze, for lack of a better word, off of it. And then I can use my fork to tease out a little bit with my beans and corn.
But if you notice, if you use the last of the rice, you'll go out and bring a new one in and put it in the refrigerator, and then by the next day, it's thawed out.
Yeah, typically I've got one I'm using and one that I'm about to use in the regular fridge, and then the rest is frozen. And I go through those in a couple of days, so it's not in the refrigerator that long. It's only 4 cups in that, in each container.
Couple days.
So yeah, I thaw them out shortly before using them. Using the microwave for the initial thaw, though, if I'm going to use it right away.
If it's frozen, yeah. Absolutely.
Carol, I noticed you're asking this of everybody on the feed about someone going to a whole food plant-based with colitis. We don't really have any information or experience with that.
I don't.
So
I'm thinking that Chef AJ recently interviewed somebody, a doctor, about that, but I'm not sure if it was colitis or something else. But you could Google that.
Yeah. Just try Chef AJ.
Yeah, or plant-based diet, colitis, and a plant-based diet, and see. I don't know anyone. I know that I read an article one time about how colitis had helped somebody. Someone with colitis was helped by a plant-based diet, but I don't have any information about that. But I'm pretty sure if you Google it, you'll come up with something.
Susan Johnson's got a question about her cutting board having to do with how much space is above her Breville under the cabinet. Susan, you can see what's above ours over there on which side of your screen, I'm not sure. If I just point over there, the computer will take care of the rest of it. And you can see that that's about, I don't know, that's a good 8 inches or so from the top of the oven to the bottom of the cabinet. And with that board there in the distance that we have, the light that is attached to the bottom of the cabinet is making more heat on the cabinet than what is coming up from the oven. And so based on what you see there, we don't have an issue. If it was a little bit closer, it probably still wouldn't be a problem. There is an air gap between that board and the top of the oven, so anytime you have an air gap like that, it creates a little bit of a heat insulation. So, without seeing your exact situation, I don't know, but it does help. And if you've got another 3 or 4 inches, well, then you probably should be fine.
And you could always call, and Breville has excellent customer service, and they seem to be extremely knowledgeable. And so
Yeah.
you could always call and talk to their customer service. Oh, I did want to say too that I see there's some talk about the books in the chat, that if you go to the McDougall website, they give away so much information for free. So pretty much their starch solution plan is mapped out on their website for free. They have a message board where you can ask questions. They have recipes for free. So, I mean, they are so dedicated to trying to help people adopt a whole food, plant-based lifestyle. They've tried to make it as easy and accessible as they can for everyone. So check out the McDougall website as well.
TS has a question. Any suggestions for a beanless veggie burger? She looked on our site but didn't see anything.
Yeah,
A beanless veggie burger.
Yeah, Chef AJ has one or two in this book. And so, you know, do a search. I don't know if she's ever done it made them on a YouTube video to show people or not, but she does have a recipe in here. So you can just, you know, you can combine potato or sweet potato and grain, quinoa. I know that there is, I think Engine 2 also has one that is made with quinoa. I can't remember. I don't think there's beans in that one. I think they have a quinoa one that doesn't have beans in it. But, you know, I would just, again, I would do a search for it. But I love the Chef AJ's best beanless burger, I think it's called, and really delicious. And it has like wild rice and sweet potatoes in it, and chipotle, smoked paprika. Oh, it's really, really good.
Sure.
I mean, this book is probably one of my favorite recipe books, and we love everything that I've made out of it. So I do highly recommend it.
And it's in our book section on our Amazon shop. Lucy has a question and I think she's asking about someone else that she knows. For a young male athlete who will be playing football and has seen the Game Changers, what book would you suggest to start this lifestyle?
Oh, absolutely,
So for
the
them to-
Engine 2.
The Engine 2 book. Because that would
Do
be...
I know I gave our son one of them that I had. So the original one.
Because they start out in the fire departments and
Yeah,
really
so I
trying
would
to
do
appeal to a male audience.
Yes. So I would get one of the Engine 2 books because the recipes include some pasta and some whole wheat bread and that kind of thing, which, you know, he's probably going to want to eat. I think it's very easy for males to transition using that cookbook, and then just the language that Rip uses is, you know, very appealing to the younger crowd, and the recipes are as well. So I would definitely do the Engine 2. And they do have a website too, and I believe they have a YouTube channel.
Let's see. Susan, I think you found the grinder later in the chat feed. I think she found it. Let's see. And Susan, thank you for the super chat. That was very kind of you.
Oh, thank you. That was nice. There was a question about something up here, I think. Oh, I don't know.
Well, that's Susan right there on the cutting board.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
Okay.
Okay, here we go.
And here, Susan found it.
Okay. Oh, somebody found a black widow spider. That's always scary.
All right. And Lucy said thank you. Okay.
Yeah, and someone is talking about Dr. McDougall. Yeah, I mean, him and his wife are just extremely generous, not only with their time, but also with just their information, because he's so dedicated to wanting people to go plant-based.
Okay, TS has a question. Due to hand issues, she can't use the chopping bowl. Any suggestions for making a chopped salad?
Yeah, try your food processor. So some people tell me that they're able to make it in a food processor. So you can put your veggies in there, use the S blade, and I would just use the pulse function, because if you if you turn it on and start it spinning, you're going to end up with a green smoothie. And so I would use the pulse on that. Some people have shared with me that they use a great big knife. I don't know if you can use a knife at all. They'll use a great big knife on a big cutting board and just chop it that way as well. And then we also on the Amazon page, we have an OXO salad chopper bowl, and it's what I originally started with. And the cutter that it comes with kind of looks like a double-bladed pizza wheel, and then it has a different kind of handle, and you have to do this kind of motion.
You don't have to
go
you're
like
not
this.
Impacting your wrist.
But you do have to like roll it like this in the bowl, and it does a fairly decent job of cutting it. And I bought one and sent it to my mom and dad's house so that I could make chopped salads when I visit my parents. And so, you know, it works pretty decent. It's a smaller volume, and Tom and I both like to chop salads, and so we needed to move to the 15-inch bowl, but it does pretty good. Aw, thank you, Scott, for that.
Scott says he can't wait till the pandemic's over and we can get back to our
meetups.
Our area meetups, yes.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that too, Scott. We've just really missed being social and seeing all of our friends. And gosh, you know, it won't be long and it will have been a year since we've seen everybody. But thank you so much for the super chat. That's greatly appreciated. And we're looking forward to getting to see you too.
Yeah, Gina is successfully making hers in the food processor, she says here.
Okay, so Gina, do you have any tips on making?
She does. She says just make sure the veggies are dry.
Okay.
So they don't turn to mush.
Okay, make sure your veggies are dry and be really careful using the food processor.
Okay. I think I'm catching up. Oh, here's a new one.
Okay, so the person who asked about the colitis, that Karen says that Dr. Will B, the gut health doctor, would be a great doctor to Google. Her husband had Crohn's disease and had a resection done, and it eventually killed him. I'm so sorry. And she wished she would have known about whole food plant-based before that. So Dr. Will B, the gut health doctor. And check and see if AJ has had him on the show or not, because it seems like she did.
There was an interview about gut health
a
while back.
Yeah, or maybe recently.
So even try Googling Chef AJ gut health.
Yeah, I mean, she's interviewed so many people, I cannot keep up with it right now. Would a 10 cup or smaller processor work? Unfortunately, can't use the OXO one. Okay, so I wondered if maybe you would. You know, whatever size you have, you can make
just
work.
Just adjust the quantity.
Just adjust the quantity that you put in it, and you'll just have to test and see how much. You'll probably have to chop some, dump it out, put some more in, and chop. You'll probably have to do it in batches.
Gina has more advice here. Using the top coat, does the veggies separately, and then the cruciferous, and then mix it in the bowl after.
Oh, that's great. Great.
Okay. All right. Okay, yeah, Geraldine says that Rich Roll and Dr. W on a while ago on that subject as well.
So the Rich Roll has a podcast, and so check the Rich Roll podcast for Dr. W, and that's great. And again, if you Google him, podcasts, YouTube videos, or interviews, you'll probably get lots of links that will come up.
Oops, I don't want that.
What'd you do?
I clicked the wrong button.
Stop it.
Okay. All right, well, you can talk to them while I find this again.
Okay, I'm not sure what you're doing, honey.
There we go.
He's got us completely off. I don't know where Tom went.
It's not my
He's
day
gone.
today.
You know, he's been off all day. You know how some days you just have a difficult time. He's just really been off. He hasn't been himself all day today. It's so crazy. So our son quarantined for 2 weeks so that he could come and spend the weekend with us. His birthday was Friday, and so he came yesterday, and we celebrated his birthday, and he spent the night. And you know, he doesn't live that far away. He lives 20 some miles away, but just with his crazy work schedule, you know, he doesn't get to the burbs that often because he loves to live downtown. And so we had a great time with him this weekend. It was so much fun.
Okay, I'm back here with our questions. Elio, please ask, is it okay to sub split peas for lentils in a recipe?
Well, I don't know what the recipe is, so I can't really, I'm not sure.
Split peas might be inclined to go mushier than a lentil would.
Well, no, they're about the same texture-wise. I mean...
It'd take longer to cook because they're bigger?
I don't know. You'd need to look it up. It would all depend on the recipe that you're making, and look up and see, you know, they probably cook in about the same amount of time, but split peas are already cut in half, so I'm not entirely sure. You'll need to Google it and see, or maybe somebody else can answer you. Oh, here, Jesse's answering.
You can sub yellow split peas for any lentils except red lentils. Red lentils cook very quickly and cook down to mush.
Yes.
Other lentils retain their shape and crunch.
Yeah. So I would check the times, how long they need to cook, so that you can make a decision there. Oh, she means for what? Wait, you're moving too fast and then I can't read. I meant yellow split peas for nutrition versus lentils. I don't know. You'd have to look it up. I don't know how they compare nutritionally. I would think that they would be very similar, but you would have to check. Okay, so here's someone whose son has Crohn's, and he has controlled it with a whole food plant-based diet and no flare-ups at all. That's awesome.
Yeah. Stephanie Spears asking, have we read the book from Doug Evans about sprouting, and do you sprout seeds in your kitchen? We have not. Well,
I have done some sprouting in the past. I've, sprouted like, I've just, what did I do? I did some broccoli seeds, and I did...
Yeah, we're not doing that routinely.
But no.
Just as an experiment kind of a thing.
Yeah, I mean, I love the sprouts. They're delicious, and they're certainly very high in nutrition. I just don't have the time to deal with it. Rinsing them and keeping track of them and all that. But I think it's fantastic. And occasionally I'll buy some sprouted things at Whole Foods. But when we were there this past week, everything that I checked the dates on, they were all expiring within like a couple of days of the day that we were there. So I passed on all of them. But they're really fun to have and to add to your salads.
Oh, you're caught up? Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
All right. Susan's asking about how we use the board, the use of the board. We're very glad that it's there, because when we pop out, if we're popping out, like I'm doing my chips to go with my chopped salad, I'll pop those out and set them up on top of the board. Maybe Tammy's tray of whatever, her little strips that she does of corn strips for her chopped salad, those will go in. Or maybe I'm pulling out some air-fried potatoes that she put in before I did my chips, and I just pull those out and set them up on top of that board. So that board is an essential landing pad for things that are about to go in or things that are about to come out. And for the things that are coming out, they're hot. And you don't want to, I have turned and put them on the island, but there was a plastic bag sitting there, and the rim of the tray melted the adjacent plastic bag. So when we first come out of the oven, we often just go right up on top of that board. We always have the tomatoes there for
just for the
for this life,
yeah.
and when we because we have another bowl of tomato. We got bowls of tomatoes everywhere here.
I love tomatoes.
So anyway, but during cooking, that board gets a heavy workout. It's a landing pad for everything coming and going in and out of that oven. We don't actually use it for cutting on. We have lots of other cutting boards that we use, but...
Well, and the top of the oven actually gets hot because it's stainless steel. And so the top of that oven gets hot, but the cutting board you can touch and it doesn't get hot. And sometimes I'll even set some plates on top of it just to warm the plates up
So they can
while I'm air frying something.
Yeah.
You know, but if I'm baking muffins, perhaps, you know, if the grandkids are here, then I can pull the muffins out and then I can set them up on top and put them on top of the cutting board so that they're up out of reach. So none of the kids can reach them because, you know, they want to go, oh, what is that?
Yeah. If we were doing all these trays directly on top of it, we'd be just scratching the dickens out of the finish on that thing and making a mess. So we really enjoy having the cutting board.
We do. I like how it looks too. I guess aesthetically, it's pleasing to me.
Does anyone have a company to recommend to buy organic broccoli seeds? I don't.
Okay, so a lot of talk about sprouting. Sprouting is supposed to be so good for you. It's just supposed to have so much more nutrition when things are sprouted. Oh, so Gina put an IKEA bamboo board on top of hers, close enough. And then, you know, I have a friend whose husband just made her a cutting board. And so he just measured the top of the Breville, and then he made her a cutting board for it. And so that's a great economical way to do it too, if you know somebody who does woodworking.
Okay, so Lauren...
And a lot of people have extra time on their hands right now, so somebody might appreciate having a project to do.
Yeah. Lauren has a question.
Okay.
And
you just gotta find it.
I haven't spotted it, and she's using question marks.
Okay, so we've been getting
here's Lauren
a lot of questions from people on Facebook about, are we safe from the fires? And so the closest fire to us is 60 miles away. So we are not in danger of the flames. What we're getting here is the smoke and the ash. And so today our air quality is in the very bad. And it was just under 300 earlier today. So I was not able to go for a walk this morning because the air quality was too bad. Some days I put on my N95 mask and I go if it's not quite so bad. But it was too bad for me to even go out in it today. So, you know, we're just very grateful that we're not any closer than we are. And we can only imagine what it must be like to be closer to the fires because the smoke here is so terrible. It just looks kind of dark all day. You know, the sun, there's so much smoke that it's really hard for the sun to peek through. And we know a lot of you are in California and Oregon and Washington, and so we're just thinking about everybody and all the first responders and all the people who have been evacuated up in Oregon.
Susan's asking, you know, Lauren, I scrolled back up to the top what I can see here, and I did not find a question from you. So if you would repost that down at the bottom, I'll try to spot that again. I'm sorry I'm not seeing it.
Okay, so
Susan's asking what was the intention of the board on top. I think pretty much what we use it for.
Yeah, I think
and
so.
And you could use it for a cutting board. I just
but we don't.
Want
we have
to.
other cutting boards. So Lisa says, if we grind a week's worth of black cumin seeds in advance, do they lose any effectiveness? I don't know. That's a really good question. So you might do an internet research search on it and see what you can find. And I don't know. I just, you know, I grind them fresh every time I go to use them.
Yeah. Allie Oakley on the oat groat, on what are oat groats. If you will Google Nutmeg Notebook oat groats, the title of that video that it will take you to is Oat Groats. What are oat groats? Good question.
And I go through and explain all about it.
So we have a whole like 15-minute answer for you on that and how to cook them and have them come out really nice. So anyway, okay. Yeah, and the short answer is they're the whole oat. They're not cut. They're not steel cut. They're not rolled. They're just shelled oats.
They're as unprocessed as you can get.
Yeah.
And so watch the video. I tell you all about it.
And how to cook them and have them come out not like mush is the magic trick in that video. And we get a lot of positive comments on that. So.
And somebody says that, you know, if you have the cutting board on top of the Breville, then the things that you set on top of it don't get hot, and that's true. And so it makes it usable space even when you're using the oven, because the top of it does heat up. That metal up there does get hot.
Okay. All right. I am still not finding a question from Lauren Bendick.
Well, can they repost it?
Yeah.
If you can just repost your question, then we'll certainly try to answer it. It's just, you know, the feed
It jumps
moves
around. I'm scrolling, but then it jumps when something else happens.
The feed moves really fast, and so it can be really tough to go back and try to find previous questions.
Okay.
And so did you guys batch cook today? I didn't get as much done as I wanted to because our son was here, and so I did make a really nice brunch this morning. So I made tofu scramble. I used Kim Campbell's recipe for tofu scramble. It was a recipe that she demoed on the vegan cruise that we went on in February. But I think if you Google it, again, Google's our friend, if you Google Kim Campbell's tofu scramble, I think it's on the Plant Pure Nation website. And she uses it to make a burrito filling. But I don't, I think she puts hash browns with it, but I made my hash browns separate. And so I used our Cuisine Art griddler and just put frozen hash browns on it, 400 degrees, and closed the lid on it and set it for check it at 35 minutes. I let mine go to 40 and they were a little too crisp today, but they were still good. We ate them all. And then I made the breakfast sausages that are made out of oats, and that recipe is on the blog. And it's also the same recipe used in the Darn Good sausages that you can wrap in rice wrappers and then put in the Breville Smart Oven Air. But today I made the breakfast sausages, the little patties, and the tofu scramble. And then the guys had toast with theirs, and then we also had fresh fruit. And so it was a delicious, fun brunch to have. And then I made a chickpea curry that we had over quinoa for lunch, and there is a chickpea curry recipe on the blog, and I just doubled that, and I had to play around with the spices because I didn't have everything that went in it, and so I just kind of winged it. And then I also made a chocolate pudding that I layered with strawberries, and the guys loved it. So unfortunately, I did not keep track of what I was putting in it. So I'm gonna have to try to make it again. I was just winging it, and I had some just yams, regular like garnet yams that I had oven roasted, and I had roasted them quite a long time, so they were really kind of syrupy and super sweet. And so I put those in the blender, and then I had a big Hannah yam that I had roasted. I put it in the blender, and then some unsweetened almond milk and some unsweetened cocoa powder and a little bit of vanilla, and then chia seeds. And I blended it until it was super creamy. And then I took fresh strawberries and I layered it with fresh strawberries and some pretty little ice cream dishes, and then chilled it. And it was really good, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm, it was.
The chocolate pudding. So I gave him a choice because I baked our son a chocolate birthday cake yesterday. And so I gave them a choice. They could either have another piece of cake or they could have the chocolate pudding with strawberries. And they picked the chocolate pudding.
I've got a mystery here.
Okay.
Because I'm on live chat. Lauren, I'm looking at the message you wrote. Lauren Bendit, can you see it? And then with like 8 question marks. I see that question mark. I saw a couple before where you stated you were asking questions that I'm not seeing. So I don't know what's going on. I've got it on live chat that sees everything, and I'm seeing you talking about asking questions, but I'm not finding one that's an actual question. So I am mystified.
Does anybody, if anybody else?
Jesse, do you see the questions from Lauren? I'm on total live chat. I'm not on.
I don't get it. I'm typing as in the live chat. Lauren. Well, instead of typing "I don't get it," could you just type the question?
Yeah, because we're getting that. Where was that one at? Right here. I don't get it. I'm typing it as in the live chat. So go ahead and don't do question marks. Just type your question. Maybe the question marks in your computer or throwing something off.
Or it's a troll.
Or, okay, that could be true too. I don't know. Sorry if we're misunderstanding that. What almond milk do we use? Typically from Whole Foods. We just use the unsweetened, unflavored almond milk from Whole Foods if we can't.
The 365 brand.
And if they're out, then we just pick up the same version at Trader Joe's down the street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can make your own too, just using unsweetened, unsalted almond butter. You can take a couple tablespoons with a couple cups of milk. You can make it as thick or as diluted as you want and put it in the blender and just blend it. And if you use the almond butter rather than nuts, then you don't have to strain it. So I can't remember the exact portions, but again, if you Google it, you can find the exact portions, but it just kind of depends on what you want to do. So if we run out and I want to make a recipe, we do keep some almond butter here for the grandkids, and I'll just make a little bit in the blender.
Okay, you know what? Big City Bookworm probably has a solution here. There are certain words that YouTube blacklists. So that if you if you put things that could have innuendo or misconstrued, it blocks the message from coming onto the chat feed.
Yeah.
Like if people say, love that recipe, for instance, then that winds up on our normal comments as a blocked message, and I have to approve it for it to post. So it just could be a word that is on YouTube's, because we subscribe to a YouTube word filter that they prepared, because we were getting a lot of stuff before, and so.
Okay, so what brand of frozen rice do you use? We make our own rice. So Tom makes our rice in the pressure cooker, and then
we use the Lundberg brown rice.
But this last time Costco had some other brand that was grown in California.
Yeah.
And so we use organic brown rice grown in California. Tom cooks it. He makes a whole big pot of it, like 10 cups worth of uncooked rice in the pressure cooker. And then when it's done, he divides it up into containers that hold 4 cups, and then we put it in the freezer. So we make our own. It's the most economical way to do it. You can buy organic rice and organic quinoa already cooked and frozen in bags. Like 3 or 4 bags come in a box at Trader Joe's, but it's a lot more expensive to do that. But if that fits in your budget, that's a very easy way to do it. But we just make our own frozen. We call it our fast food.
Yeah.
We make our own fast food.
Jamie's wondering, have any new recipes in the works?
I do. I just haven't had time. We've had no time to make videos. So September is a really busy month for us.
A lot of birthdays.
We have a lot of birthdays. Our twin grandchildren just celebrated a birthday earlier this week. Our daughter's birthday is coming up. And so September is just a really busy month for us. Plus we have a lot of I'm doing some interviews and some cooking for some other things. And we just have a lot going on right now. So we haven't had time to set everything up and do any cooking videos. And so I do have things in the works. We just don't know when we can get to them. It'll probably be October.
Yeah. Allie, to find the pepperoni spice that you're asking about, there is a link in the description down towards the bottom of the description for the local spicery. And that's where Tami gets her pepperoni spice. So if you go to that link, it's a link directly to the local spicery's website. If you put Nutmeg Notebook in there, you will get 2 free sample spices of something like related to.
Yeah, and we don't have an affiliate with them, but we just love their products. And so we love to share whatever products we enjoy using, we want to share with you. And we
Yeah.
love local spicery.
Yeah, so that link is there. DLR Cribbage, do you know if Engine 2 is discontinuing their product line at Whole Foods? Our Whole Foods has last chance tags on the veggie patties. They've been out of hummus for months. Thank you, Ruth. We noticed as soon as Whole Foods got purchased by Amazon that the Engine 2 product line started getting less and less.
Well, I think they're coming up at the end of I think they had a 10-year contract with Whole Foods, giving Whole Foods exclusive rights to their products. And I think they're coming to the end of their contract. And I remember reading some talk about them trying to get things so that they're available in regular grocery stores across the country. So wouldn't that be fantastic? And Whole Foods does start to discontinue things that aren't selling that well. So yeah, they haven't had hummus at ours in a long time. But you know what? You can make hummus quicker in your food processor or your blender faster than driving to Whole Foods to pick it up. So check out my no oil, the best no oil hummus, and Google that, and you'll find the recipe on the blog. And it's super easy to make your own hummus, and it only takes a few minutes to make it. And you can either make your own garbanzo beans if you want to, and that makes it even more delicious, but it's still delicious if you use canned garbanzo beans.
Okay, Amy says, where in Costco does Tom find his tortillas? Refrigerated section, haven't been able to find them. They're in the bread aisle, all the way at the very end of the bread aisle, past all the breads. And there's just one little chrome shelf, and there's flour tortillas down below, and then the corn tortillas up above.
But it's also kind of a regional thing. So we've had people tell us that their Costco does not carry that. And so some things that you'll find in your Costco store will be a regional item. And the corn tortillas that he buys may very well just be a West Coast product.
Yeah. So,
but that same brand, Whole Foods sells it, our Safeway sells it, Nugget sells it, Rayleigh's sells it, like all the other grocery stores here sell it. But I'll get one out because I know people are going to ask. But of course, it's a smaller package of them. So let me show you. Here you go.
yeah, these are my big ones. Mi Rancho, organic corn tortillas.
And that's the package that he gets at Costco. And then these little ones, I really like these to make tostadas out of. And these are the taco sliders. It's the same brand, but they're little ones. And Whole Foods sells these, Safeway sells them, the Nugget sells them. They're available at a lot of the grocery stores. And then also at the grocery stores, they carry the bigger one, but this is a thin corn tortilla. And I think that these actually make much better chips than the thicker ones that Tom gets at Costco.
I like the thicker ones because I load them up with rice and beans, and they need to carry the weight.
Oh, yeah. And so he likes these to make chips, but I like the thin ones. I think the thin ones make better chips because they become really, really crispy.
But none of them are in the refrigeration section. They're just on the shelf.
So these at the regular grocery store are usually with wherever they keep the other types of tortillas. So, and then at our Whole Foods, they also usually have a little end cap with the little slider ones on them. So, but that's the brand that we like, and these are made in California. And so this could just be a West Coast thing that's at Costco.
Do you think, Cynthia's asking, do you have more energy since you went whole food plant-based?
Well, I don't know that I ever didn't have a lot of energy, would you say?
I would say I would notice that after the lunch crashes, the carb crashes went away. So
yeah, so definitely
it was more of a level playing field.
Yes. Yeah. So I would say that our energy level is definitely more consistent. I've always been a very, I want to say like energetic and active person. But of course, when you lose 49 pounds, you're, definitely, it's much easier to move around than it is when you're heavier. So I would say that, I just feel so much better. Don't have all the highs and lows, all the crazy blood sugar and that kind of thing. So definitely feel better. And don't have headaches. He used to get migraines. I used to get a lot of headaches, and
We're generally more well across the board.
yeah, we just don't get sick. I mean, we get like some aches and pains and things, and we do silly things, and hurt a foot or hurt a hip or whatever.
Yeah.
But
Okay, Allie's asking, are thin, slim pizza crusts unhealthy? I don't know what they are.
I don't know what that is. So what is it made from? I mean, if it's a highly processed product, which it probably is, then, I mean, like these are processed, but all they have in them is corn. But are they as nutritious or as filling as eating whole corn? No, they're not. So, I mean, I don't eat these every single day, but if I'm on a kick of making my Mexican salad, I will have them like 3 times a week, a couple of them. But whole foods are definitely more nutritious and filling.
Jamie's asking, can you make dressing out of the beet boost? Do you have a dressing with beet boost?
I don't. I just drink it. I don't use the beet boost in any recipes, but if you Google it, you can find like some people make a beet hummus with it, and some people do make some kind of different bean dips and things with it, but I just drink it. I really like the flavor of it, and I drink it, and I want to get a whole tablespoon if I'm drinking it for inflammation or recovery, like after a big hike or something, and so I just have it in water and drink it.
Oh, here's an explanation from Allie. They're a zero-carb pizza crust with thin slims, probably maybe made from like a
you have to look,
like a cauliflower or something.
And they usually have oil in them.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times they have egg whites in them. So you really want to look.
They're going to be engineered towards the keto diets.
Yeah, you really want to look at the ingredients. Probably have oil, sodium in them, and I probably wouldn't eat it. So Kim Campbell from Plant Pure Nation has a recipe for making like a lentil, like a flatbread or a crisp bread, and she says that she uses it as a pizza crust. So look at that. Sometimes I'll take the hash browns and cook those in the griddler and get them nice and crispy, and then I'll put tomato sauce on it and some vegetables and have that kind of be my my pizza.
And our closing question from the day is from Tiffany. Is there what are the favorite meals that Sweet Pea enjoys when she comes over?
Yeah, you know what? She is a super picky eater. All 3 of them are very challenging, which reminds us so much of our son, because our daughter is our oldest and she ate everything. And, she loved Brussels sprouts, and, she would eat every vegetable, and she loved everything. And then our son came along 4 years later, and he hated everything that was healthy. He was he just wanted carbs, and not the good carbs either. And Sweet Pea is kind of like that. So she really likes, the Persian cucumbers. She likes almost all fruits, so she's really good about eating
She eats
fruits.
some of the baked tofu.
And she'll eat baked tofu. That's probably a real mainstay. And, our daughter makes a marinade with the coconut aminos and a little bit of maple syrup and balsamic vinegar, and then cubes the tofu and bakes the tofu. And so she eats a lot of tofu. And let's see, what else does she eat? She's not real fond of beans, but she does like avocado, and she can eat like half of an avocado at a sitting. And so if she has tofu and avocado, we call that really good. And then she likes just cooked red lentils with a little bit of the aminos, coconut aminos sprinkled on it. And, you know, she can eat like a whole bowl full of that. And she loves the banana cherry nice cream that we make in the Champion juicer. She'll ask for that. She likes pancakes, waffles, you know, and our daughter makes whole grain versions of those. And she loves oatmeal, and she loves oatmeal for dinner. And so I'll do a video. I'll have to do a video on how I make oatmeal for her, because I cut up a whole banana in the oatmeal when I'm cooking it. And she loves that. So very, very picky eaters. All three of our grandkids are very, very picky. Corn on the cob. What else do they like? It's hard to think.
Okay, I'm losing my feed here. I got to go back up. That's a good list. That's a good list.
Is that a good list?
Yes. Mary Jo is asking, are there any ingredients in Beet Boost other than beets? There's one. The ingredients here are beet juice concentrate and tart cherry extract. So this is just beets and cherry extract, and that's it. Not even other things for powdering and stuff.
No.
It's pretty pure. So
it is.
So yeah.
And people always want to know what it tastes like. It does not taste like cherries to me. It just tastes like beet juice, which I love beets, so I actually really like the flavor. And some people they'll brew like hibiscus tea and then add the beet boost to the hibiscus tea, just, you know, for a little bit different flavor.
And Carrie's asking about when the magazine comes out. In October. It'll be out in October, we are told.
Oh, do you want to talk about that?
Well, Carrie is just asking when the recipe article comes out. So
you talk about it.
Oh, well, you did at the beginning. You covered all of that.
No, I did not. That was this morning on Facebook.
That was this morning on Facebook.
Yeah, so okay. I'll let you talk about it.
All right. Health Science Magazine from healthscience.org. We also refer to these folks as the National Health Association. And Tami is doing the recipe spread for the October issue of this quarterly magazine, all whole food, plant-based, no ads. So we're very excited to be included in that. I have a link in the description, and we're encouraging everybody to go to their website and sign up. Their annual membership fee is $35. Their Century membership fee is $100. So it's a great information resource, and then you also get access electronically to past issues once you become a member of the NHA. And you can access a lot of great articles and recipes from the past. So certainly money well spent in the information resource world of the plant-based community. So please visit healthscience.org, and if you talk to Mark or Wanda, let him know that Nutmeg Notebook sent you. So.
That's right. So I'm excited to see the issue. It's going to be fun.
Okay, yeah, that was this morning. That was.
And there's two new recipes will be debuting in that magazine.
Yeah.
That have never been published anyplace. Yeah. So that's exciting.
We haven't tried the pomegranate powder.
I have not tried pomegranate powder. No.
Okay. All right. Well, I think we need to wrap up. We've been 102 minutes. It's time to go.
Whoa! How did that happen?
And we were 10 minutes late to begin with. So
yes, it's true.
Dinner time. So let's sign off.
Okay, well, thank you guys so much for joining us. If you haven't yet, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our YouTube channel. You also need to go over to Nutmeg Notebook, the blog, and make sure you're subscribed there, because on the Sundays that we go live, Tom sends out an email reminder to everyone. And then, you know, any companies that we see that are having a sale or a special, we try to notify you of that, or, you know, anything interesting that's going on
product
in the plant-based
availability.
world.
I've just been tagging on kind of what's going on with our affiliated companies, whether they're in stock on something or out of stock on something or making a new promotion.
Yeah, and some companies are having a hard time right now getting products. Everything is coming to them slow because production has slowed down of so many components that they need. So, so anyway, subscribe to Nutmeg Notebook, the blog, and we will put you on our mailing list.
Thank you, moderators, for your help today.
Yes, we could not do this without you. It's fantastic. And what else? I had something else I was going to say. I
Yeah,
don't
if we
know.
missed your question today, send us an email. We'll include it in our next live 2 weeks from today.
Yes, that was the other
So,
thing I was
you know,
going to say.
So send that, and then we print them up and collect them, you know, like Tami does, to present at the beginning of the program, and then whatever other topic we may have in 2 weeks, we'll see.
Yes. So we will do our next live will be Sunday, September 27th. Will be our next live, and it will be at 4 p.m. Pacific time again. And if you want to know what I eat in a day, follow me on Nutmeg Notebook on Instagram or on my Facebook page, and you can see it there. So I'm Tami.
And I'm Tom.
And we help you get healthy and stay healthy, one meal at a time.
Bye-bye.
Bye, you guys. Thanks for joining us.